Jenny-Jaymes and our sidekick, Christian Cano, partner in crime, is coming up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen's sidekick. Welcome to Two Queers in a Truck. Hi y'all.
See you. Good morning, everybody. It is Two Queers in a Truck time. And this is Christian and Jenny. And this is the last Wednesday of August 30th. But most importantly, it is the bonus episode. It is the fifth Wednesday of the month. And we
That's
don't
right.
Get that. So it is the special sale, the guns that look like knives and knives that looks like guns episode. Sunday. And
That's right.
It's always fun when we get that fifth one in, because we just get to piss off the MAGAs and crazies even more because they got to put up with us 5 times in the same month.
Exactly.
I do not love that. And speaking of assholes, the Tennessee Speaker of the House, his last name is Sexton, he secretly moved from his home district, sold his house under the cover of night or whatever, and went on ninja mode and bought a house in Nashville. Huh? So he didn't have to commute as far. Mm-hmm. So it'd be basically like, one of our local members of the house here in the General Assembly in North Carolina, and buying a house in Raleigh so they don't have to travel as much. And that wouldn't probably be an issue other than, I don't know what the Tennessee Constitution is, but he continued to bill the state of Tennessee for travel expenses and per diem.
Oh.
When he wasn't commuting. He didn't even have a house. He I guess, I don't know if he was still getting mail there or whatever he did, but he didn't make it a big deal either. He didn't let anybody know, including the state of Tennessee, that was still scratching him expense checks, meaning he was turning in fictional mileage and whatever they reimburse him for. Yeah, but it added up to some say close to $80,000. 2021, and all of 2022 he billed the state, and I guess he continued in 2023. Now this is the same guy that had the 3 House members removed. This is the same guy that doesn't want signs, like protest signs inside the House chamber. So he doesn't like, First Amendment or the ability for his coworkers to be able to do their jobs, things like that. But he's not above fucking around himself, and coloring outside the lines, or as some people call it, felony theft. And so he's in some deep doo-doo. He's in some Trump style hot water, and I'm here for it. This guy's a fucking jackass, and these people, they think they can do it whatever they want, whenever they want. Republicans have just lost their minds. It is that we should have been looking at this all along. Like, somebody should have caught the fact that for a crosstown commute instead of a traveling in. Somebody should have noticed this. Like, I don't know, send a test piece of mail to the old address, it just seems bizarre that you can just make a house disappear and buy a new house and nobody not notice this. But he bought the new house under a shell corporation, for one thing. So this guy had intentions of committing this, and he thought, well, I'll just create one, and I won't live in the district I was elected in, and I will just live in Nashville, and I won't have any commuting expenses. And it's a pretty sweet scam. I mean, it is a scam, but he's in some trouble. Democrats aren't letting it go either.
Yeah, I mean, is he being investigated by them?
And our next topic is the Vivek Ramaswamy, or whatever his name is. He's running for president. The Republican nomination for president. And one, he has no chance of getting the nomination. Let's start there. The Republican Party's not going to put a man of color into the nomination, but this guy's nuts, and so he thinks it's a great point in his political idealism is to block the ability for 18 to 25-year-olds to be able not to vote unless they pass what he calls is a civics test. And this sounds very familiar because, the Republican Party and conservatives throughout our history has always tried to limit who can vote, whether it is IDs or whatever. But the crazy thing is, he's saying the crazy part out loud. Obviously, no state and the federal government is not going to allow this. It's political suicide, because you're going to take probably 25 million Americans, 25 million adults, and just say, I want to take you off the rolls unless you can prove you know what you're doing. Now, I'm guessing that our government than most baby boomers. I'm just saying. The crazy conspiracy theories that MAGA say, the older MAGA say, they have no clue how our democracy works. They have no clue how our government works. And I think they don't have a clue about much. With them rattling off, if anything, older people should have to retest on civics because they're further from school. At least the 25-year-olds just had history in civics classes. They literally just learned this stuff. They should be the most familiar. They're the most familiar with technology. They're the most familiar with research and everything, and not making stuff up. They haven't developed the bad habits. I'm more comfortable with a 19-year-old voting than a 69-year-old. Just saying. And I'm not trying to do ageism because I'm old myself. So it's not like I'm a 25-year-old or something. Like I'm not trying to, but I don't think it's a bad thing that people, like, especially all these conspiracy theories and lies about the last election. And it's all coming from older people for the most part. There's some young nut jobs, but for the most part, it's predominantly older white men and women, conservative white men and women that start making all this stuff up. And clearly they don't understand what is said in the Second Amendment, including all the little pieces of the amendment that come down below it that only talk about organized militias. They're not talking about ownership of gun. Like, there's not 3 follow-up sections that say how you should properly own a gun. So the Second Amendment has nothing to do with gun ownership. The right to bear arms is not the same thing as the right to be able to buy and access arms. There's a difference. And it's a governmental right. It's not a personal right. But this nut job is trying to take away the right for people to vote in a 7-year span, 18 to 25, because his party doesn't do well in that bracket. In fact, they're
exactly. Yeah.
And things like Ohio and Kansas, where very young adults, we always say, well, they need to vote, they need to be involved. And so when they get involved, and the older adults don't like the way the younger adults reacted to something, we're acting like spoiled children that go, well, you didn't bounce my basketball right. You're not doing it right. So I'm just going to take my toy away and I'm going to stomp my feet and walk off like a friggin' 3-year-old. That's what MAGAs all act like, is a bunch of 3 and 4-year-olds that get mad that you got their shiny object, and they just can't stand it. They're just so gobsmacked that you're not doing what they tell you to do all the time. And that's how they treat Democrats. It's just like that jackass we ran into in Pride last weekend, where he got mad that I didn't agree with him. But we'll be right back. That was the first break, and we will come right back with some more Two Queers in the Trap. Hey, everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in, and we're staying. So enjoy the Two Queers in the Trap on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye-bye. Happy Pride. We are back. But this is the biggest problem with conservatives, is the moment you don't kowtow to their whims, they get upset, just like that little leprechaun this last weekend. And the moment I told him he was full of shit, that he was a gay Republican, which is an oxymoron anyway, with lots of built-in hypocrisy, and then he tried to gaslight me, and I walked off, which made him madder. And narcissistic conservatives do not like being ignored. And speaking of narcissists and idiots, Travis Tritt has begun a lying campaign about the Dominion voting were cheating in Georgia. Now, the times that he said they were cheating would have been when a Republican governor won both elections in 18 and in 22. Because he said who's involved with it is Brian Kemp, that governor, that Republican governor that won. That's what's weird. So the voting machines only cheat when Democrats get elected, like to the Senate. But they don't cheat for the governor. Look, and here's the thing, and I put a meme up the other day that said if Democrats could rig elections with voting machines, we would already have free health care,
Exactly.
paid off student loans, world peace, green energy, and I mean, like we're the worst cheaters ever. If we were able to rig elections, Hillary would have won in 2016.
So that Jenny, that makes logical sense. So if you think about their theory, and what you're saying makes logical sense, which you've already said, and we already know that they don't think logically. I mean, they don't think anybody's going to think, okay, well, let's just think about this for a while. So what they're saying is the elections are rigged, but we've rigged them so that way it's like, we don't want to rig them too much. We just want to rig them enough so that way it'll create some people win, but some people won't. So we want to rig them. We just want to rig them too much. They're just saying we're bad cheaters.
Yeah, yes. we like randomly lose the House to the Republicans so that we can't get anything done for 2 years.
Exactly.
And then we have to spend tens of millions of more dollars to win the House back, because we like a challenge. We like to feel like we had it too easy for those 2 years in 21 and 22. And so we wanted to double down and go ahead and let nut job McCarthy and his minions like MTG run the House for 2 years to show America that we suck at rigging elections. And I think it's genius. It's so genius. It's right up there with Wile E. Coyote trying to kill a roadrunner and him blowing himself up all the time. Look,
exactly.
If I in fact was the queen of the world and I was able to determine how the elections come out, then first of all, we'd be Russia. We wouldn't be the United States. Second of all, it would be pretty obvious. technology like the vending voting machines was put in place to not only make elections easier, but more accurate. And for you to be able to spot check the entry. So the computer technology, would pick up on anomalies and stuff like that. These are encapsulated closed systems. These aren't, the Dominion machines aren't something that you can just log into and change the algorithm. And so would they make these wild, and this is why Fox News, Travis Triss isn't too smart either, because there was already a court case over this and Fox News got obliterated. But he says he has some kind of secret evidence the Dominion only cheated in the Georgia elections.
Oh, so his secret, maybe he pulled that secret out of the My Pillow pillow that he owns?
Yeah, I think it's
okay. I see. Yeah, he slept on it.
And first of all, Travis Tritt is a has-been, and I figure he's doing this half to get back into the news because Kid Rock slipped out from under a rock or a bridge or something and shot up a bunch of beer cans, and so maybe it's concert tickets.
Did you see that latest Kid Rock thing? I don't know if you saw that,
where he was going hand in hand with Dylan Mulvaney.
No. He was caught drinking Bud Light walking around.
Oh, of course. I'm sure he trolls trans girls too, like for days. And these dudes, like many of the real outspoken conservative dudes that mouth about trans women, almost like Alex Jones, get caught either watching trans adult films or get caught on different dating apps trying to date trans girls. These people, just like that nut job from Arizona that was called talking to Daddy, these dudes are always latent homosexuals or trans chasers or deviants, and they're not deviants because they're trying to date men or trans women. They're deviants because they attack and incite violence against the LGBT community all the time, or they lie about something. And this weirdo Travis Tritt, and we're about to get to another untalented individual on the fourth phase, but it's just like this next guy, Kevin Sorbo, the washed out kind of never was actor that's he kind of bills himself as a super Christian and he runs in the same lines with super Christian Mel Gibson that beats his wife
Kirk Cameron and all those
and he said that he's trying to make this false narrative again that he's getting canceled by anti-Christian Hollywood, that Hollywood's a conspiracy theory. There's probably some Jewish space leaders that's involved with this, and that they're mad at Christians. They don't want Christians to be successful. I'm going, no, there are many. I mean, Tom Cruise, Scientology, I don't know if that's considered Christianity, but there's tons of religious performers. The dude I'm blanking on his name, that was Guardians of the Galaxy. He's a hardcore evangelical Christian, and he's one of the biggest box office actors in Hollywood right now. There's tons of evangelicals in Hollywood, but they're also talented. Kevin Sorbo has got less acting skills than people in adult films. Like this dude, his movies are terrible. Anything he's been in is awful. The guy's just not good. And now that he's been aging and he's not even moderately attractive anymore, he looks like a sack of potatoes with eyes, and he's untalented. That could be why you're not getting any bookings, dude. Like, I'm just going out on a limb that Arnold Schwarzenegger is a conservative Christian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he has to get more CGI'd into the films just to look realistically athletic because, like, he's 400 years old now. Same way Sylvester Stallone, even even worse, what's his face that is well into his 80s, is still doing some fight scenes. He was in Goodfellas and Robert De Niro. And they CGI'd him into a gangster film just about a year ago. And then they used some of his real stop action. But even critics, even older comedians said, I haven't seen that kind of movement, that stiff of movement since we saw the Tin Man and the Wizard of Oz. But at the end of the day, those people are still wildly talented. You're talking about Robert De Niro, which is not a conservative. He's a highly progressive, liberal person. But a guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was a Republican governor of California. This guy's a very conservative man, but he's also reasonable. You don't hear him repeating MAGA conspiracies. You don't hear him saying all kinds of crazy stuff. He's too busy with his nanny and stuff like that. But he at least is reasonable. But he also is a good actor. He also has made a ton of films. He is Conan the Barbarian. He is the Terminator. This guy's been a bona fide action star for almost 50 years. Kevin Sorbo, on the other hand, honestly didn't really know who he was till he started throwing fits like this.
What if he did something like in the 80s and 90s? What was it? He played some character.
But
it's like a Wonder Woman kind of character, but
But he wasn't. But he's never been some box office.
I don't remember that.
Cruise.
Yeah.
Like, you can be kooky and crazy and religious.
He's one of those Gen X crazy people.
Yeah, but so is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is a Gen Xer.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
We're up against our second break, and we'll be right back with Two Queers in a Truck.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
But you can be a religious nut like a Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
His Scientology beliefs ruin almost every marriage he's had. And just be... Tom Cruise is an absolute kook. But for one, he's extremely good looking. Two, he's a really good actor. He's a phenomenal performer. And I give credit where credit's due. The dude's insanely athletic, still does 99% of his own stunts, can fly jet fighters himself. Like, he literally is one of the ultimate method actors. And big box offices of multiple generations. I mean, this guy's been doing this since the 1980s with the first Top Gun. And unlike Travis Tritt, Kevin Sorbo, they haven't stood the test of time. Nobody cares to hear from you. I honestly don't care about Tom Cruise's political views either way. But he's smart enough not to let his Scientology kookery affect his career. He keeps a lid on it. He doesn't talk about it publicly. He just goes on and does his little Tom Cruise smile, does his famous little run scenes. And, because he runs in every one of his movies. If you ever noticed that, Tom Cruise can't do a movie without running or sliding across the room in his underwear like in Risky Business, which was not hard to look at either. He looked pretty good in his underwear. But it's just very, very bizarre that these has-beens, and in Kevin Sorbo's case, almost never really was. Like, there's tons of people that I would pick as well-known actors that turn into conservative kooks, but are still watchable. They're still, to me, it's just like, if you're going to be a really problematic date, for example, you better at least be really pretty. And if not, if you're not a model quality type person, male or female or anything in between, you better make it up with some personality and some empathy and some other personality quirk. Just saying. Kevin Sorbo's that same way. He ain't pretty. He's not easy on the eyes. Like, he's not a older, aging action star or gracefully aging, really pretty actress like a Suzanne Summers or somebody along those lines. He didn't age gracefully. I mean, he's got a face like a foot, and then on top of it, no real acting talent or chops or fame. And then you start mixing in by playing the victim, which most of these conservatives do when they lose elections, like a Carrie Lake that wants to be a celebrity so bad. She wants to be another MTG. She wants to run around the country and say, at least MTG can win elections. I'll give her that. Like, you talk about zero personality in a nut job. Funny side note. So MTG was there was, I guess, this workout thing in the middle of, I don't know if it was a shopping center or what the context was, but MTG was getting spotted by these two guys, and it was like a chin-up bar, a pull-up bar, and I guess because she wasn't dressed for it, she had like blue jeans on and a top, and so she jumped up on this chin bar and she was doing these pull-ups, and I guess she was wearing some kind of dangly belt or whatever, and it was dangling from the front. So the way it dangled down, it made it look like she had testicles or a penis hanging down. It was a real.
Did they take a picture?
Yeah, no, there's a video of it. I
oh, how funny! Page. Yeah,
and it just popped in my mind of celebrity wannabes and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm just telling you, it is the funniest video I've ever seen. Of MTG. It is, because she's not talking in it, so that's always a bonus. Yeah. And two, you're just seeing the backside of her, which is awesome too, because we don't have to see that face. And three, as much as she harasses trans people, it looks like direct evidence that she has a penis. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen. We'll go to our last topic, and we skipped the fifth topic, but it's not actually very funny. The last topic is the cocaine rumors run wild with Governor Dick Suckus. A lot of people, even Republicans now, are starting to wonder if Dick Suckus is using cocaine or some kind of drug, because people are picking up on how twitchy and weird he is, and how just like he's sweating. He's got all the signs of using cocaine, just like the Trump boys. And just the weird rantings and the because it's not Tourette's. Yeah, it's. But you can tell, because sometimes he's that way, sometimes he's not. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like he goes in front of the camera and he probably does a little bump, like right before he slides out in front of the camera. And by the time, and so he does those weird, like he sits there and grinds his teeth, and he does these weird mannerisms that you only see with people that use coke. And and really why I bring it up, I was going, another Republican said there's a lot of cocaine use and there's a lot of orgies. And it's also, he's now a Floridian, Madison Cawthorn. As glad as I am that he got drummed out of the House, he had no reason to be in the House of Representatives. Madison was right. I mean, we're seeing all these Republicans that are showing mannerisms of using coke. We all know they're into orgies and wild sex parties, because anybody that points their finger that much at the LGBT community, obviously, they're participating in a lot of things they don't really want to get out.
A lot of projecting going on. Yeah,
a lot of projection. We all know about Dick Suckus' past, as when he got out of the military and got out of college, that he was a high school teacher at a private school and went to the high school kids' parties, and has There's footage of him drinking at these parties with high school girls. So this dude, his wife can project the little evangelical terrorist moms for liberty, crazy,
drag eyebrows.
Yeah. The spackling on their face, and they look like they are going to be on the next Drag Race show. But quite frankly, I think DeSantis is a party animal. I think he is buck-ass wild like most conservatives are. People are letting this go. They are saying there is something visibly wrong with this man. Like, he is flaming out of the Republican race. Not only has he no chance of being the nominee, even when Trump gets convicted. Like, Trump could drop out tomorrow. DeSantis is still not getting the nomination. Republicans on Florida are turning on him. He's losing donors. He is not going to be able to mount a credible campaign in 2024. By the time you get to 2024, this guy, for one, the fascist stuff that he's pulled in Florida and just the relentless attacks against different communities and just insane moves. These are moves that have gone so far. There's nobody, even in as crazy as the Republican Party has become, there's not a consensus that this guy's presidential. This guy wilts under pressure really quick. He's going to get shredded in debates. Like, he's not going to do well. Because you put him up against, I don't know, a Chris Christie that's pretty quick with his words and doesn't get all flinchy and cokey looking. And you got DeSantis that looks like a robot about to short circuit and gets that weird laugh. That really he's got that really creepy.
It's a real forced, creepy laugh.
He has no personality. Anybody that goes to a high school party as a teacher means that he could date people in his own grade level, at his own age, and he's cruising for high school chicks when he's clearly not anywhere close to high school age or morally acceptable. At he's partying with juniors and seniors in high school. That's creepy on every level. Yeah. Like why somebody's dad didn't come after him, I don't know. I think they've done a good job of covering up all of his little dalliances. But anyway, that was our last topic, and it has been a quick show. But we it is the bonus show, so it's short and sweet and mildly amusing. And it was our 5th episode about this.
That's right. Guns and Knives. Sunday.
So y'all enjoy it. We didn't charge extra for it. And we will see you next week on Two Queers in a Truck. Bye, man.
Bye, y'all. Bye, boo.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching. And we appreciate the viewership over the years. And still be careful out there. There's parts of the country that are extremely hot. And we all are thinking about Maui, Hawaii, and the immense tragedy out there. So if you can, help out in any way you can. Those people are really suffering. They lost everything. But have a great week. We'll see you soon, Boo.
Bye, Boo.